Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're not hitting the usual big headlines.
Nope.
Instead, we're digging into something maybe a bit unexpected, the global market for street washing machines.
Right. We've got this 2025 global report, and it's actually, well, it's pretty revealing.
It really is. It's not just about, cleaning roads.
Yeah.
It shows a lot about how cities are changing, the focus on sanitation, and some, frankly, quite smart technology.
Absolutely. You look at this data and you're seeing urbanization trends, environmental needs.
Yeah.
It's all reflected right there.
So our mission today is basically to unpack this report.
Mhm.
We want to pull out the key numbers, the trends, the forecasts.
And give you a really clear understanding of a sector you probably haven't thought much about before. It's like a hidden piece of the whole urban infrastructure puzzle.
Okay, let's jump right in.
Yep.
The report kicks off with the global market size. For 2025, it's estimated at USD 420 million.
A substantial number, yeah.
But what really stood out to me was the forecast. It's projected to hit USD 128,824.4 million by 2033. That's a compound annual growth rate, a CAGR of 5.4% over those years.
That's solid, consistent growth.
So what's fueling that? What's pushing the market forward?
Well, the report points to two really big fundamental things. First, just ongoing urbanization, more people living in cities.
Right.
And second, as cities grow, there's this increasing need, this demand for better city services. And sanitation is right up there. Public health, quality of life, it's all linked.
Makes sense. More people, more density, more need for clean streets. Okay, so let's break this down geographically. North America seems to be leading the pack right now.
Yeah, in 2025, they've got the largest share, about 37%. That translates to roughly USD 315.40 million.
Okay, 37%. But their growth forecast, 3.9% annually, is a bit lower than the global average you mentioned. What's the story there?
Well, North America, especially the U.S., it's quite a mature market already. They have a lot of infrastructure in place.
Okay.
So the growth, while still significant, the U.S. market is huge, about USD 2,458 million, growing at 3.7%. It's more about upgrading, efficiency gains.
Smart city stuff.
Exactly. Smart city initiatives, stricter sanitation rules, that kind of thing. Canada's a bit different, USD 373 million market, but growing faster at 4.7%. That's likely boosted by strong environmental policies pushing for newer tech.
And Mexico.
Mexico's around USD 283 million, going at 4.4%. There, it's more about that core urbanization trend and efforts to modernize their existing city infrastructure.
Got it. Okay. Moving across the Atlantic. Europe, second biggest market.
That's right. They account for 29% of the market, which is about USD 2,441.80 million in 2025. And their projected growth is a healthy 4.5% per year.
And within Europe, Germany and the UK seem quite dominant.
They are. Germany is the largest in Europe, almost USD 484 million, growing at 4.7%. A big factor there is those stringent EU environmental regulations. They really push demand.
More efficient machines, greener options.
Precisely. Water efficiency, maybe hybrid power sources. The UK is close behind in size, USD 410 million, but actually growing a bit faster at 5.3%. They seem to be adopting things like AI and low-emission tech quite quickly. And then you've got a whole cluster of other important markets. France, Italy, Russia, Spain, all growing steadily.
Plus smaller ones, too, it looks like. Sweden, Denmark.
Yep, Sweden, Denmark, Switzerland, even Luxembourg, they all add up, contributing to that overall European picture. And then there's the rest of Europe category, too.
Now, Asia Pacific. This is where the numbers really start to accelerate, right?
Oh, absolutely. APAC holds 24% of the market in 2025, so around USD 20 million. But the growth projection...
8.1% annually.
Exactly. That's significantly higher than North America or Europe.
Wow. What's driving that kind of explosive growth?
It's a combination of powerful factors. Huge investments in smart cities, particularly in China. China is the biggest market there by far, nearly USD 850 million, growing at 7.6%.
And pollution concerns.
Definitely. Growing awareness about urban air quality, and these machines are seen as part of the toolkit to tackle that. Then you look at India.
Yeah, 10% growth.
Remarkable, isn't it? USD 202 million market size now, but that 10% annual growth projection is huge. It's driven by rapid urbanization, plus municipalities are actually increasing their budgets for this kind of mechanized cleaning.
So it's not just China and India, though.
Not at all. Japan, South Korea, Australia, Singapore, Taiwan, they all show really strong growth figures between 6.6% and 8.4%.
And Southeast Asia as a bloc.
Also very strong, projected at 8.9% growth. The overall theme in APAC is just this rapid urban expansion coupled with a much stronger focus on public sanitation standards.
Okay, that's a very clear picture of dynamism there. What about the other regions? South America and the Middle East. They seem smaller, both around 4% market share in 2025.
Yeah, they're smaller overall, but still showing decent growth. South America is about USD 320 million in total, projected to grow at 6.1% annually. Brazil leads the way there.
Driven by sanitation programs, I see.
Exactly. Expanding those programs is key. Brazil's market is about USD 137 million, growing at 6.7%. Argentina is actually projected slightly higher growth at 7.0%, though, from a smaller base. Colombia, Peru, Chile also contributing.
And the Middle East, similar growth profile.
They're very similar. About USD 337 million market size in 2025, and projected growth is even a bit higher at 6.7% annually.
Saudi Arabia stands out.
Yes, largest market there, USD 118 million, growing at 7.0%. A lot of that is linked to their Vision 2030 plan, which involves massive infrastructure upgrades.
Right, makes sense.
The UAE is also growing fast, 7.2%. Qatar with its infrastructure projects, Turkey, Egypt, they're all key markets pushing that regional growth.
Okay, and finally, Africa.
Yeah.
The smallest share currently.
Yes, about 2.2% share, which is roughly USD 185 million in 2025. The projected growth is 5.7% annually.
And South Africa is the main player.
It is. About USD 65 million market size, growing at a solid 6.6%. The driver there seems to be a growing focus on public hygiene standards, especially in the urban centers. Nigeria and the rest of Africa make up the remainder, also showing growth, but from lower starting points.
Right, so that covers the global map pretty well.
Yeah.
Now, the report also slices the market in different ways by machine type, fuel, capacity, application. Let's start with type. Self-propelled versus non-self-propelled.
Okay, so self-propelled, the ones you drive, are dominant right now. They hold the biggest share.
Why is that? Just efficiency.
Pretty much. They're great for covering large areas, municipal roads, big industrial sites with less manual work involved.
But the report says non-self-propelled are actually the fastest growing segment. That seems counterintuitive.
It does a bit, but it makes sense when you think about it. These might be smaller, maybe tow-behind units or walk-behind scrubbers. They're often more affordable.
Lower cost.
Lower upfront cost, yeah. And they're better suited for smaller tasks. Sidewalks, parking lots, tighter urban spaces where a big truck can't go easily. Plus, the rise of battery power makes these smaller units more viable and attractive from a sustainability angle, too.
Okay, that makes sense. Different tools for different jobs.
Fuel type.
Diesel still dominates, but electric is surging.
That's the clear trend. Diesel's dominance comes from its power, its range, for those heavy-duty, long-hour jobs.
But electric is catching up fast.
It's the fastest growing segment, absolutely. Driven by everything we're seeing globally, the push for sustainability, stricter emission rules in cities. They're quieter, too.
And better batteries.
Big factor. Battery tech is improving all the time. Better range, faster charging.
Yeah.
Plus, government incentives for electric vehicles often apply or influence purchasing decisions here, too.
Right. Now, capacity, small, medium, large. Medium seems to be the sweet spot currently.
Yeah, medium capacity machines hold the largest market share. They offer that versatility, a good balance between efficiency, capability, and cost. They work for a lot of different municipal and commercial jobs.
But small capacity is growing fast, especially in emerging markets. Similar reasons to the non-self-propelled growth.
Very similar reasons. Lower cost, easier to handle in tight spaces or residential areas, good for sidewalks, they're just more accessible, especially for smaller municipalities or businesses or in developing economies. And again, electrification helps here too.
Okay. And the final breakdown, application. Where are these machines being used? Municipal street cleaning is the biggest, no surprise there.
No surprise at all. That's the core function, keeping cities clean, public health. It's a government responsibility.
But industrial street cleaning is growing rapidly. Why the surge there?
That's tied directly to economic activity. Expansion of manufacturing plants, huge warehouses, distribution centers, logistics hubs.
They all need cleaning too.
Critically. For hygiene standards, safety, preventing contamination, meeting environmental regs. As industrial activity grows, especially in those fast-developing APAC economies we talked about, the demand for specialized industrial cleaning just follows suit.
So if we pull all these threads together, what are the big underlying dynamics shaping this market, the key drivers?
The report really highlights a few core things. 1, relentless urbanization. 2, growing global focus on sanitation and public health. 3, Government initiatives like smart city projects. 4. Environmental concerns, pushing for greener tech.
And water efficiency, too.
Yes, absolutely. Demand for water-saving solutions is a specific driver, especially obviously in water-stressed regions.
Okay, those are the drivers. What about the brakes? What's holding the market back or slowing it down?
Two main things come through. First, the cost. These machines aren't cheap. The initial purchase price plus ongoing maintenance can be a real barrier, especially for smaller towns or businesses with tight budgets.
Yeah, I can see that.
And the second is water scarcity itself. In some areas, using large amounts of water for street cleaning just isn't feasible or sustainable, which limits the market for certain types of machines.
But despite those hurdles, the direction seems pretty clear. More electric, more smart tech.
Definitely. The trend towards electric and battery power is undeniable. Sustainability, emissions, noise, it ticks a lot of boxes. And alongside that, we're seeing more integration of AI, smart sensors,
Making them more automated.
more data-driven, optimizing routes, water usage,
Right.
ultimately leading to more efficient cleaning operations.
Sounds like a competitive space. The report names some big players. Kircher, Hako, Delevo, Tennant. What are they doing to stay on top?
It's very competitive, yeah. Innovation is key. They're all pouring money into R&D, focusing on water conservation, energy efficiency, better automation.
The same trends we just discussed.
Exactly. They're developing those sustainable, electric, AI-driven machines that the market is demanding. We're also seeing strategic moves like partnerships. The example given is Rosari Professional partnering with Hako in India to bring advanced tech there.
Targeting high-growth markets.
Right. And lots of new product launches like Kircher, bringing out new models. Industry shows like IFAT are where you really see all this innovation showcased.
Okay, so wrapping this up, the global street washing machine market. It's not just some niche utility. It's actually a pretty significant growing industry.
Absolutely. Billions of dollars growing steadily.
And it's deeply tied into these massive global shifts. Urbanization, public health concerns, environmental responsibility.
And technological advancement. It really reflects what's happening in our cities and societies.
It's quite insightful, seeing how something as seemingly mundane as street cleaning mirrors these big trends.
It really is. And it acts as a kind of a barometer for broader priorities. You know, city growth demands better infrastructure, climate concerns, push green tech. The smart city idea filters down even to cleaning equipment.
That leads to a really interesting thought to leave our listeners with.
Yeah.
Well, if this often overlooked market tells us so much about these big global shifts, what other seemingly niche industries out there might be holding similar insights?
That's a great point. What other everyday things, maybe things we take for granted, are being quietly reshaped by these same powerful forces of urbanization, sustainability, and technology? It makes you wonder, doesn't it?
It really does, something to think about.